Seedwayne's mission is to collaboratively build sustainable food systems on the campus of Wayne State University and Detroit neighborhoods. And I underscore collaboratively because that is a key word. It's in everything we do. There's not a single activity that we offer by ourselves. The newsletter, arguably, we write by ourselves, but there's always consultation going on in terms of what content goes in and how to organize it. And then we also see activities on campus and in the community as two sides of the coin, because the university doesn't exist as an island. The university exists in a community, and that it's important for us to see those two aspects connected. And the way we do it is to link to all of the core functions of the university, which are education, research, and engagement and operations. A lot of applied research activities tend to stop at the first three, if they are that integrated at all. So education, research, engagement are considered the most typical functions of the university. Operations are typically not thrown into the mix because it's considered to be, what the administration does. But when you're considering food and agriculture, operations are very important. When I talk about operations, what do I mean? The physical facilities, the grounds, which are important to grow, where you can grow fruits and vegetables, the business practices of the university for sourcing the cafeteria, for running the farmers market, campus police. I mean, these are all important functions to engage with the food system, but they also contribute valuable resources. So why should universities? Let me actually go back. Say, well, why should universities become leaders in sustainable food systems? What do you think? Why should I made an argument for schools, but why should universities exercise leadership? The argument that we use for schools also holds for universities. We know that our diet does matter to our ability to concentrate, our ability to use our brains effectively, and to develop, healthy habits. And a university can't just say, "Oh, I'm just interested in cultivating your mind, your mental capacities," but then neglect the fact that the body is connected to the mind. And I mean, if you look at all of what's served on campus, the kinds of food outlets that exist on campus, it mirrors the rest of the society, in terms of fast food outlets and so on. But the university cannot just say, "Oh, it's your personal responsibility. What you put in your mouth is entirely your responsibility," because a lot of the knowledge about the fact that the food environment matters to diets is actually coming out of universities. So, we can't just afford to, on the one hand, put out all this valuable research and knowledge, on the other hand, pretend that we don't really know that it exists, right? So we can't afford to play that kind of a schizophrenic role. And then, as was mentioned earlier, very in great detail, universities have civic purposes. They're not just about educating the next generation workforce or about preparing students to take on leadership positions in corporations and so on. They also have roles in terms of transforming the society into a more just social order, improving the quality of life in their communities. And, and if you didn't take that seriously in Detroit, where would you take that seriously, right? I mean, Detroit, Wayne State stands to make a huge contribution, and Wayne State has an urban mission. Wayne State has made a commitment already to its surrounding community in terms of using its resources and the knowledge and the resource that comes out and the research that comes out of it to benefit the surrounding community. So that's another reason. Universities have the power to make a huge difference. Like you said, universities' tentacles go out into the ecosystem and the rest of the society and market. And so if the university decides to change its spending and put a significant proportion of its spending in the local market, the local market can really benefit. And then if it serves as a model, that can create multiplier effects. There's a study that showed that in Michigan, if everyone spent $10 of the money that they spend on food entirely on the local economy, that would generate about between $5 and $6 billion. That would benefit Michigan growers and food producers. So in terms of the university spends about $2 million on food just in terms of its dining services and catering services. So if a portion of that goes to local farmers, that can create a huge impact. And then, of course, the university is involved in research, teaching, and community engagement. And food is so versatile a topic that by linking food to all of these functions systematically, you can create huge benefits again. And I mean, that's almost a no-brainer, and that's why I put it last, because the university is already doing this. I really like this image. It's an image of a very, handsome, very macho, look at those tattoos, for example, cool-looking African-American man eating salad in the middle of a public space at the market. So I mean, he's modeling healthy behavior, and normally, men eating salads is considered to be, not something they want to be seen in public. But clearly, this man has no such insecurities, right? So it's a great image, and he's made fast food out of salad, which is another great image. So what does sustainable food systems mean? For the way we've defined sustainable food systems in Seedwain is by 4 E's. That a sustainable food system is ecologically regenerative, that it doesn't deplete the natural resource base upon which the agricultural and food system depends, and it maintains integrity of the ecosystem. It's socially equitable. This is very important, as we've been talking in this class for the last 14 weeks now. It's economically empowering. It helps build small businesses, put more money in the pockets of small growers and entrepreneurs, and it engages community members, and it's democratic. We're all stakeholders in the food system. We cannot afford to let large entities and corporations make important decisions that affect our lives. So this is a food system chart that I used for the Food Policy Council, and really it's a handy map that shows goals in the outer circle. So expanding urban agriculture capacity on the top, creating creating jobs in locally owned enterprises, also on the top, eating healthy diets. These are goals that the community has identified as related to the food system. And there are many entry points. If you go from the center, private, government, community, and civil sector decisions, there are many places in which you can intervene in the wheel of activities in the food system to create the goals. So the food system is actually very amenable to making huge differences regardless of where you enter, whether you enter in composting like you do, Passion, or you enter into it through urban agriculture or food retail. So what are Seedwain's main activities? We have activities on campus, on the left-hand side, and in the community, as you can see, in the right-hand side. And then there are some cross-cutting activities that are that span both of those columns. So we have 3 campus gardens, and I'll talk more about those, including with a winter extension. We run a 21-week farmers market this year, starting June 6th. We compost the kitchen wastes at Tower and Warrior dining halls. In the community, we have Detroit Fresh, which is an 18-store healthy corner store project. Has anyone been to any of the corner store that participates in Detroit Fresh? You have, right? You volunteered. Do you remember the name of the store? Which one you went to? A&W. Mac and Dickerson. Yes. That's one of our best stores. We built a 4,000 square foot passive solar greenhouse across from the Capuchin Soup Kitchen on the east side, and that's a site of entrepreneurial agricultural activity by young people and adults, and there are some really good businesses coming out of that greenhouse. Seedwain also participates in the Detroit Food Policy Council and the Urban Ag Work Group that's convened by the City of Detroit Planning Commission. And then we work with AVI to help bring local food. So for example, last Earth Day, we brought salad greens that we cultivated in the winter garden. We connect them to we connect farmers to chefs in the chef shops regularly, and we're also now trying to see if we can write a grant so that they can have money to source more locally, because it's hard for them to buy to source their entire meals locally. Susan was able to do that at Henry Ford, but it's harder to do that on campus. We host an annual harvest dinner which celebrates partnerships as well as the harvest of the season. And then we have a quarterly newsletter, and you're all signed up. I don't know if you've received a quarterly newsletter so far, but by participating in this class, you're automatically signed up. And we contribute to classroom and field-based learning in many different classes across campus. English, history, communication studies, anthropology, engineering, arts, and I'm sure library science, and I'm sure I'm blanking on a few. And we also engage in collaborative research with faculty members across campus. In fact, there's a very exciting research project that I've just concluded with Professor Sean McElmurray of engineering, looking at lead in urban gardens and how you measure it. Right now, what gardeners do is they send their soil samples to University of Massachusetts to get a soil sample. Do you know about this process? And then they get a report that identifies total concentrations of lead. As it turns out, total concentrations of lead is a good measure to know, but it's not enough to know total concentrations, because what is more important is the bioaccessible fraction. So if you did, let's say you ate a teaspoon of soil that contains some amount of lead, you want to know how much of that lead will be dissolved in the stomach acid and then be taken up into your bloodstream as a result. And that is the more important figure, not the total concentration. And so sometimes you can have low lead concentrations, but a very high bioaccessible fraction. So if you say, oh, well, then it's safe to garden here, but because of the high bioaccessibility, it actually might not be a safe place. On the other hand, if a particular parcel has low bioaccessible fractions, it may have high lead levels. It can have 600 ppm, for example. 400 is considered to be safe by the EPA. And you might think, oh, this is not a good place to garden, but actually it might be suitable based on bioaccessible fractions. So you really need to know that as well. And that paper is currently being prepared to be submitted. So very exciting. And of course, we support student research projects as well in all of our activities. So here are our projects. This is Warrior Garden. It was started in 2008. We built 7 beds that are 4 feet by 18 feet. That is Will Ahi. He's the guy who just dropped my bag. So that was, it was great. It was a very rainy day, wet day, and hard work trying to get the soil into the beds. And that's the same garden. We have some VIPs visiting the garden. And actually it's become quite a destination for people, coming to show off campus, or in the late summer when Wayne State organizes student tours, for orientation tours, they typically pass the gardens or the market just to be able to showcase those. And this is the season extension. Serene, you participated in it, didn't you? Where we grow salad greens in the winter, and during Earth Week we celebrate them. We have a potluck coming up on Monday to essentially eat those salad greens. And this is our second garden, St. Andrew's Allotment Garden. This is behind St. Andrew's. That's the park. This is the church, and this was the space before the gardens were built. And this space is actually slated for construction of the Honors College and the dorms. But because of the economy, they don't really have the money for construction, so they allowed us to use the space. So this is the build that happened in 2009. We have 18.5 beds of 4 by 8. And here's a very nice picture of students taking a break on April 18th, 2009. It was a nice spring day, and I think you might recognize these two fellows right here. One of them is Deji, and I can't tell which one is Deji and which one is Delhi. And then, just over a month later, look at that. Look at those harvests. Beautiful, huh? And then this is our third garden, our rooftop experimental garden that was designed in collaboration with Professor Sean McElmurray, actually a student, an engineering student, senior, designed the beds. And what's really clever about these beds is that they are self-contained in that they capture their own rainwater. This is a polycarbonate roof that then dumps the water into the rain barrel. It's a butterfly construction, so the water gets channeled into the rain barrel, and then there's a drip irrigation system that then provides water at low rates into the beds. And at the peak of the season, this is what it looked like. The major experimental question was, can a garden survive on the top of a parking structure, given how hot a concrete structure can get in the middle of summer? And the answer is yes. We had some other experimental questions as well, which we've had mixed results with. So, and this is a great picture of some kids visiting us from the Palmer Skillman Daycare Center. It's a great destination to bring kids on walks, the market and the gardens. So they really had a lot of fun. Okay, and now the farmers market is our flagship project. Have you been to the farmers market? You have been to the farmers market. You haven't. None of you. So you have to be there this year. It's a 21 or 22 week market, depending on how the dates fall. Typically starts in the first or second week of June, goes through the end of October, and has vendors from Detroit and across the region. I'm really proud to note that last year we had 16 vendors, 9 of them from Detroit, 5 women-owned businesses, 6 businesses owned or organizations run by people of color, including 4 African American. So, clearly we want to be able to showcase our social justice and diversity objectives in the market. We have on average 1,000 customers come by each market day, and it was also as part of our improving access, especially to low-income households. Very important that our market accept food stamps and all the other government nutrition programs. So this is the bridge card flyer. We take the bridge card. We give wooden tokens in exchange for bridge card dollars that are expended in the market. This is Project Fresh, and this is Double Up Food Bucks. So I'll talk about each of them. Very nice. We get really a very diverse group of shoppers, including a lot of international students. Students are not our biggest group of shoppers at the market. Generally, it's mostly employees who are working at the university and people who live and work nearby. Students do shop, but they tend to buy lunch or they tend to buy fruit for immediate consumption. And you can imagine why it would be difficult for students to shop for produce, even if they wanted to shop for produce, because they have to go to class and all that. But international students, we have a huge loyal following of international students, and it really does help that we have a diversity of vendors. So we accept the bridge card, which is food stamps in Michigan, and we have wooden tokens for those, and then we match bridge card spending at the market with what are called Double Up Food Bucks. Those are silver tokens of $2, and the Double Up Food Bucks can be used anywhere in any market in Michigan, because Double Up Food Bucks is available at all of these markets. And essentially, how it works is as follows: for when a person who uses the bridge card comes to the bridge card station, it's typically she'll tell us how much she wants, how many tokens she wants, and then we give an exact, not exact sometimes, because if she asks for 5 tokens of EBT, then she gets $4 worth of DUFB because they're $2 in denomination. But we help them, so we say you can get $6 and get an equal amount of DUFB. And the Double Up Food Bucks are meant to be used only for Michigan-grown fruits and vegetables. And we've gotten amazing positive feedback on that. And then we accept Senior Project Fresh and WIC Project Fresh as well. And these come in the form of vouchers. Last year, they were in booklets of $20 each. This year, they're giving $30. The state is giving $30. So. And then we offer cooking demonstrations. This is an urban planning student, Katrina. I think she graduated 2 years ago. Cooking demonstrations. This is Chef Allison from the Capuchin Soup Kitchen. This is Chef Julio from ABI Food Systems. And ABI has been really good about releasing the executive chef for cooking demonstrations. They don't charge us for that. And it's really great to have them at the market. They do a great job. And we teach people how to use, especially the lesser known vegetables that grow in Michigan, and how to make convenient recipes with those. And the tastings, of course, are very popular. And last year we had art at the market as well. We featured 2 days with the Mosaic Youth Theater and also the Michigan Apple sculpture that 25 other farmers markets participated in. So here's a look a brief look at the growth of SNAP. So this is 2009 was the first year we offered SNAP, and then, oh, I should have given you the full. This was, I took this from a presentation that I made in late October, and so it's not the complete, but I will tell you that you can see there's been growth, from 32 customers to 52 customers a day, and average sales from just over $200 to just under $600, and about the same number of DUFB. So between SNAP and DUFB, we had about $21,000 in sales. We estimate that the sales for the entire market was about a little under $300,000 for the season. And Project Fresh and Senior Project Fresh are lower, but they're still important. And kids at the market, when we first started the market, we thought, oh, it'd be university students and employees, and I mean, that's great. We didn't expect to see as many kids as we're seeing. Kids who are working, who are interning as part of the Capuchin Soup Kitchen. This is the Youth Growing Detroit program. We've had great time. They volunteer at the Grown in Detroit tent. Kids from the daycare center, the Palmer Skillman Center, they bring their kids. U Prep Academy brings their kids. So we actually see a lot more kids than I had anticipated we would. This is the 4,000 square foot passive solar greenhouse that we built across from the Capuchin Soup Kitchen that is now just completely laden with herbs and vegetables. And then corner stores. We work with liquor stores, party stores, gas stations who will work with us to get them to help them to carry fruits and vegetables or carry more fruits and vegetables. We we went into about 260 stores, and of those we have 18 stores participating. So as you can see, this is not something that stores are just waiting to get on. So it's not part of their business model. That's one thing we found. We're in the business of getting our money from gasoline sales, or they won't call it junk food, of course. We call it junk food. And so fruits and vegetables is not part of their business model. They say, well, it's too hard. For the candy and the soda, the trucks come in, they stock up the shelves. They sit behind their bulletproof glass, and and they get the invoice and they pay the invoice. They don't have to do very much work. With produce, everything else comes to the store. Produce is, we've lost that distribution system, so it's difficult. If a store can do fresh produce, they can do anything. So produce is, in some respects, like the last line, and so we thought we'd start with produce because if they can do produce, they can do anything else. Managing produce is about the hardest job there is if you're a store owner, and there's no money in produce. If you want to sell it, the gas station on Forest and Woodward, that they're a member of Detroit Fresh, and they have the best apples and the best oranges. Those apples are like this. And I just about had a heart attack when I saw what they were priced at, $1 an apple. And I said, that's never going to sell. Those apples are flying away. So, so now we don't give advice about pricing to the stores because we know, they know their market and they know what sells. But it is amazing. Now that apple would not sell for $1 in the east side. In fact, sometimes they have a hard time selling those apples for 50 cents. They sell a candy bar for $1. But not, so it doesn't give them any money. So the argument that we make is, hey, you've been in this community, you're making a lot of money selling, really what stuff that's not necessarily all that great for the community. Why not provide a service like you were saying? And we tell them that you're not going to make a lot of money, but we'll help you. We'll try to help you so you don't lose money and waste product. And so what we do is we go into the store, we do an assessment of what they have, what kind of refrigeration capacity, space, shelving, and then we give them technical assistance. We provide suggestions for what they should do, how they should change things, baskets and shelves. And then we connect them to a produce distributor who will either distribute for free if they buy $75 or more, or the distributor charges a nominal amount for if they buy less than that. And then we do door-to-door outreach in the neighborhood. You've done that with Detroit Fresh. And the idea is really to engage people, residents, in conversations about what's available in the store now, because things have changed, but also, engage them in conversations about, asking, demanding more of their corner store, and try to figure out, what kind of shopping they already do. And this store actually, unfortunately, is now closed because Mr. Barden had some major illness. But he was very pleased when he was able to, Jackie Barden is his wife, and they both run the store together. It's a teeny tiny store, about 300 square feet on the Near East Side. They were just thrilled as heck to get these baskets all stocked up the first time. And they got such a positive reception in the neighborhood that's what kept them going. They would every night move all their produce in their beer cooler, and it got difficult, so we got them a small refrigerator. But guess who was not happy? The chip guy. The chip guy came in, and he gave them the silent treatment for 2 months. But Mr. Barden says, "Hey, this is my shelf. It's not their shelf, so I can do with it what I want." We have Harding Market, who also has a pretty good and reliable, consistent offering. And that's one thing. It's hard because in winter stores are not able to sell very much because there's not a lot of walk-in traffic. And then stores with delis do better because as the tomato is going soft, or as something is going soft, they can put it in their cooked offerings. And really, stores that are owners that are committed to the community participate more consistently than stores that are not. There are a few WIC stores that in Detroit Fresh, they've signed a contract to accept WIC with the state. And as part of the new WIC rules starting in 2009, they have to carry 2 different types of fruits and 2 different types of vegetables. So it can't be a Macintosh apple and an Empire apple. It has to be apples and pears. And more often than not, many stores don't have these products. And so, you go into the store and you say, "Hey, you have WIC, where's your produce?" They'll say, "Oh, nobody's buying it." But they're required to carry it. And so what do? You try to, you call the hotline, the state's hotline, and you get, a voicemail box full. So we've decided we don't want to report them because that's not going to get us anywhere. So we go to the store and we say, "Hey, we can report you, but we don't want to do that. We want to work with you." So some stores will participate reluctantly, even though because they think we'll report them, even though we really can't do very much. And then last year we did 2 pilot projects where we held healthy food fairs in collaboration with 2 stores. One was the A&W store, and the other was Harding, which you saw in the picture. And we provided cooking demonstrations, that are healthy recipes, very conveniently assembled. So these ladies assembled quesadillas with carrots and peas and corn. And we had we provided apples and water as a way to talk about healthy snacks. And we had activities for kids and adults. And in one fair, we had kids from the Capuchin Soup Kitchen actually do a cooking demo. They made up some salsa. It was very delicious. So we work with props, and the idea is not to beat up on their heads about what's good for them, because a lot of people know what they should be eating, but really engage people in conversations about how they can move towards a healthier diet, incrementally, take small steps towards a healthier diet, and how they can overcome the barriers that they might face. I don't know how that slide got out of order, but this is young people shopping, volunteering, and working at the market. These are just some other programs. This is our farm to cafeteria, where we identified local farmers for AVI, and they then started sourcing special events. We have 2 containers behind the Warrior Grill where we compost cafeteria kitchen wastes, not plate wastes. And we then use the compost for our gardens. And this is Chef Julio, who's really been a good partner. He shops at our market, he works in our garden, and they actually have free range. They can take the herbs they want whenever they want in the garden for use in the kitchen. We have lots of student-led activities. We encourage students to offer workshops. This was a workshop that Jordan Sinclair, who just graduated with a PhD from biology, and Will offered a rain barrel construction workshop. Their rain barrel cost only $25 as opposed to the one that you buy from the store, which can be upwards of $75 to $200. And this is a group of students participating in a conference, presenting papers on their conference. This is Roland Bogdani, who designed the beds on the rooftop. Catherine, who's a very good volunteer at our market, Will, and Jordan Sinclair. This is Cecilia Rocha. You read her paper today. She talked about Belo Horizonte and the food project. We brought her to campus, and she gave a talk to the entire university. It was a university lecture. And then she also addressed the Detroit Food Policy Council. It was a very useful experience for us to learn about what Belo Horizonte is doing in terms of local food policies. Every year we do a farm tour where we visit farms that participate in our farmers market and other farms in the area. So for example, in 2009 we went to the student organic farm at MSU, and another, the Giving Tree Farm. This is actually the Allen's Neighborhood Center in Lansing. And then this is Wang Farm, and Wang is a participant in our farmer's garden. This is Greg Willer's Brother Nature's farm, and he grows the most amazing salad greens for our market. Every year we also host a harvest dinner where we bring our campus and community partners together, because it's very important that's the one occasion where they meet. We do a little tour of the gardens, and then we have a nice dinner, the annual harvest dinner that ABI has sponsored 2 years in a row. And so those are all our activities. In conclusion, Seedwain increases access to fresh and healthy foods in different ways through our campus gardens, through our farmers market, and our Healthy Corner Store project. We shorten the distance between producers and eaters by, again, helping with agriculture, both on campus and in the community, and by hosting farmers markets where shoppers can actually talk to the people who grew their food, and talk to businesses that produce their food. We try to build capacity at all levels, from the individual to the household to the neighborhood, the city, and the region. We do that in many ways. In this case, you'll see the images of the cooking demonstrations to increase capacity to use local products and healthy recipes. We work with people to increase their capacity to grow their own food. Through the Food Policy Council, we address issues that are relevant to the community and the region. And then Seedwain advances community goals in public health, in economic development and health, in neighborhood vitality, social justice, ecological health and integrity, and democratic decision making by working with the Detroit Food Policy Council. That is the end. I love this image. This is an image of a beehive that has been built with glass so that people can actually see the activity inside. And Rich Wieske, who's a vendor, the honey guy at our market, he brings these, and of course the kids go crazy trying to figure out where the queen bee is. And so this you can see their interest. That's it.